Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne, Just Hilarious. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Teslin Figaro.
Good morning, DJ Envy. Good morning, Just Hilarious, the Queen, and Charlamagne, the God.
Peace,
Nobody does it like you guys. I just got to
you.
say that. Nobody does it like you guys. Excellent yesterday. Excellent.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, let's get right into front page news. Let's start off with sports. Last night, NFL was back. The Detroit Lions beat the Kansas City Chiefs 21-20. All right, did y'all watch the game?
Nah, my daughter had back to
did.
school night. So
No, I watched the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
you lying.
I guess I did.
You such a liar.
Nuh-uh.
What happened?
Coco.
What about her?
Golf. Coco Golf. She beat
don't
the
play
girl.
golf?
I mean, not golf. No, that's her last name. Coco Golf. G-A-U-F-F. Coco Golf. She beat somebody.
She advanced to the semifinals.
Yes,
last night.
most definitely. Yeah,
Congratulations to
Stop
Coco.
playing with me because I don't have the lingo and the vocab that y'all think y'all need. Don't play with me.
No, she
won.
advanced. Congratulations.
No problem.
All right, now let's start with Ron DeSantis. That's where you want to start this morning?
Yeah, I want to start off with Ron DeSantis. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis engaged in a heated argument Thursday with an audience member at a news conference who blamed him for the recent mass shooting that killed 3 people in Jacksonville. You remember we covered that story. Now, the audio, you really can't hear the guy that much, so I want to tell you what he's saying in the beginning, but you can hear Ron DeSantis' response clearly. And basically, the guy's saying that Ron DeSantis allowed immature people to access weapons that ultimately caused the death of the people who were murdered a couple of weeks ago. Let's take a listen.
Allow weapons to be put in the street hands of immature, hateful people that have caused the deaths of the people who were murdered a couple weeks ago. Trayvon Martin was not the first.
So first of all, I did not allow anything with that. Well, listen, excuse me. I'm not going to let you accuse me of committing criminal activity. I am not going to take that. I am not going to take that. So you want to have a civil conversation, that's one thing. Try to say that I'm letting, that guy was Baker acting. He should have been ruled ineligible, but they didn't involuntarily commit him, and so they weren't. No. There is the truth. There is something about the truth. It's not everyone doesn't have their own truth.
What do we think of that?
I didn't like how he didn't allow him to speak. Just allow him to get out his sentence. I didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, in politics, it's all about messaging. A lot of folks, when they talk over people, it's because you want to make sure that the other part, doesn't get out when you feel like it's misinformation. And obviously, I'm not a fan of Ron DeSantis, but if we want to be factual about it, the guns were purchased legally. Mm-hmm. He did not allow this guy to do it. So he was, wanting to talk over him so that people didn't run with that. But what I would say is the connection between the two, Ron DeSantis leadership and what happened is there is something called the Baker Act. If this guy did have some mental issue before, some domestic disturbance, and he did not commit himself to get the mental help that he needed voluntarily. So there's questions out there to say, should that law be tightened up to not just, if somebody doesn't commit themselves, should they still be allowed to get a gun? So that's where the guy's making the connection. He's also making the connection because the guy wrote letters about racial hatred, had swastikas on the gun. And so basically what he's saying is Ron DeSantis is fueling, this type of hate in Florida. And many would argue that is true.
Yeah, you can't blame Ron DeSantis for someone's individual criminal actions, but you can say to him that a lot of his anti-black legislation creates anti-black rhetoric that could lead to this kind of hate towards black people. You can say that, but you can't say, hey, you're directly responsible for what that guy did in that Dollar General in Jacksonville.
And just to your point, as an elected official, he should have, listened more to what the guy said. He cut him off because he didn't want that story to get out there saying that he caused it, but you are correct as well.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. And Cardi B will be joining us next hour. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, Just Hilarious. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. What up, Tez?
What's going on, DJ Envy, Queen, Just Hilarious, and Charlamagne the God?
Hey, girl.
Peace, Taz.
Now let's talk about crab walking in jail.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks probably saw this on social media about the convicted murderer who escaped Chester County Prison 7 days ago by crab walking up the prison yard walls. The newly released footage that's been going all over social media showed him scaling up the 2 walls separated by a 5-foot hallway. Take a listen.
This prisoner, Danilo Cavalcante, was able to climb up onto the roof, and that was how he escaped. A law enforcement source told me that earlier. Danilo Cavalcante crab walking, putting his hands up against one part of the wall, his legs up against the other, and basically shimmying up that wall to the top of the roof. The prison warden says when he got up there, there is still razor wire on top of that roof, and Cavalcante basically just blasted through that razor wire and ultimately escaped.
Wow. I think depending what your crime is and how you escape, they should at least take some time off your sentence.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Just for the skill?
Yes, that would be an amazing reality show. Folks who escape from prison in creative ways, that would be a reward. You just take a little bit of time off.
These are murderers, rapists, all that.
No. But I said depending on what your crime was.
Well, I'll tell you what his crime was. He actually was convicted of first-degree murder of killing his former girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, he got it.
He got sentenced to life without parole.
Yeah, he got to stay.
Yeah, he belongs.
But for lesser crimes, way lesser crimes, that'd be a great reality show.
Dang, he could have been doing so many other things in his life. If you can crab walk up a wall.
Yeah, man, skills. Yeah.
Wow.
He could have a gold medal in something.
Now let's talk about the SBA program.
Oh my God, this is horrible.
Yeah, this Charlemagne the God was kind of bumped this story up yesterday and wanted to give people, I want to give you an update on that. Thousands of Black, Latino, and other minority business owners are scrambling to prove that their race puts them at a social disadvantage after the federal judge declared a key provision of a popular federal program that extending the U.S. Supreme Court's recent decision for affirmative action. Let me just kind of translate. There's a program called 8A. A lot of companies have been a part of it. Shout out, one of my partners was a part of for a very long time, called Nurses Etc. And what it does is it allows you to qualify for access to government contracts, access, to other capital that you may not otherwise qualify for. Sometimes those smaller firms don't have enough capital. Sometimes they may not have the resources to be the prime. Mm-hmm. So this 8A program, I used to really try to be an 8A at one point. It allows you to kind of come under a larger firm to kind of share some of that business. So because of people thought that the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action to get into college was just about college. No, this shows how that stuff trickles down. So because they have removed affirmative action, now they're saying, hey, this is also something that can be stopped because we're trying to remove race out of all things. So when you hear these politicians saying, oh, like we've had some say on the Breakfast Club, I believe that everybody should be equal and it shouldn't be based on race and everybody. Well, it actually doesn't work like that in real life when we talk about government contracting. So that's what happened with this.
Wow. This is what we be saying when we try to explain who is in the White House matters, because this happened because of the Supreme Court affirmative action ruling, like you just said, Tez, and who added the judges on the Supreme Court.
That's right, Donald Trump.
President Trump.
And that's so important, Charlemagne, because you'll hear people say, well, this happened under Joe Biden's administration. Yes, it did happen under Joe Biden's administration, but it was due to the Supreme Court. Who put the people on the Supreme Court? And to the point with Joe Biden, this is why they told you to pack the courts. Remember, we talked about that as well. So Democrats, Republicans, all have played a part in what we're now seeing at one point in time, one another. Now, I do want people to know this has affected 4,800 businesses that actually participate in this, but let's talk about the bag. $34 billion in government contracting in 2020 were given to 8A firms. So this is a real thing. It really will affect the economy based upon these companies not having an opportunity. And can I say one more thing about that? Real good, interesting conversation I had yesterday. And they said, well, Trump did, great job, letting a lot of folks out of prison for the First Step Act. And I said, yeah, I supported that. I advocated for that. But also, how many people are going to prison on the state level because of the amount of judges that have been appointed by Trump? So you always have to look at, where's the balance? If there's something good happening over here, more than likely there's a negative that's happening on the other side, and that applies to both sides of the party. That's why I say they both play a part.
That's right.
All right. Well, that is Front Page News. Thank you, Teslin.
Absolutely.
And make sure you subscribe to Teslin Figaro's podcast, the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network. Follow at Teslin Figaro on all social media platforms. And the weekend is a good time to subscribe to Tez's podcast because all the stories you heard in Front Page News during the week, she breaks down in depth on her podcast on the weekend. So check that out.
All right. And I want to salute to all our my Virgos out there. Today is Sydney's birthday. So happy
Sydney a
birthday,
Virgo?
Sid.
Happy birthday.
I ain't know
Yes.
Sydney was a Virgo.
Yes.
Happy born day, Sydney.
She is a Virgo, and today is her birthday, and she's
Yeah.
going to be turning up this weekend, right? That she
Better
is.
sit her cripple ass down.
Oh, shut up,
Oh, my
man. Why you gonna say
God.
that?
Why she
Jesus.
turning up
Christ.
what with a cane?
She walks just fine, thank you.
Yeah, now.
All right. Now, when we come back, Cardi B will be joining us. So we're going to
Cardi.
kick it with Cardi when we come back. And, of course, she has that new single. We're going to get it on. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.